Possibly one of the best-known TV themes of its time back in the 1980s, from Prisoner. Possibly one of the best-known that, you can go back in the 1970s, 1980s and say, gee, I recognise that, Prisoner. And, of course, one of those wonderful, wonderful shows too. And possibly the best-known face from Prisoner was my next guest. Patsy King's on the line right now. Patsy, so nice to have you with us on the radio station today.
It's nice to be there.
Great to catch up the other night with you. What a delight you were to talk to, and what a career you have had.
Yes, it's been rather an interesting one, and very varied.
It has been varied, hasn't it?
Yes. Basically, of course, I'm a stage actress, and then doing a lot of ABC radio and television, and eventually the commercial ones when they got going.
You mentioned the stage there, of course. Summer of the 17th Doll is up there, of course. Half a Sixpence.
Yes,
yeah.
And that has recently been revived in England.
Yes, I saw that. That must have been a lot of fun doing that one.
Oh, it was. It was tremendous fun, and we were all fairly young, and not many of us were dancers. And
you had to quickly train.
We had to dance and sing. And Mark McManus was a wonderful lead as well. He went on back to Scotland. He was originally a Scotsman, of course, and starred in Taggart for many years.
Of course, yes. That was a guy, yeah. So how did you go learning your dance routines?
With difficulty. When I was training at the National Theatre, we did a fencing course, which of course I found wonderful, but never had a chance to actually stab anyone in later productions. And we also had to do ballet.
Oh.
And there was one day when I got my leg up on the bar and I couldn't get it down because I'm not very tall. So I don't think ballerina was going to be my career.
When did you start all of this business? Did you study when you were at school? Did you perform?
Yes. Yeah. I was Richard II in Richard II.
Well, there you are.
At school.
You're in drag in that year, were you?
Originally, when I was at school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Whether I wanted to be a dress designer.
Right.
Acting didn't come into it, although I enjoyed it at school. And one of the other things was a missionary.
Right.
Which, of course, I didn't follow up. And being an actor, you can do all those things. So that's where I finally finished up.
So you went out acting as a missionary?
Yes.
Good on you.
As a designer, of course, I got to wearing beautiful costumes in period plays.
Of course.
Because I was trained as a classical actor.
Yes.
And did quite a few Shakespearean things. I played Ophelia with the National Theatre, which was great.
There was Blythe Spirit too, wasn't there, you did?
Pardon?
Blythe Spirit?
Oh, yes. That was Elvira in Blythe Spirit.
That's it? Mm.
Yeah, well, you've done your homework, haven't you?
Oh, look, I'm a great fan.
It helps because over the years you can forget what you've actually done.
Yes, well, I know what it's like. You were Erica Davidson, of course, in Prisoner. What was it like in those days doing something that's very, very new to television?
It was pretty hard work because when you were doing television at the ABC, you had 3 weeks to rehearse, as you would with a play. But in commercial television, it's sort of rehearse one day and then tape it the next. And you're also doing OB work, which is outside taping of scenes, and your mind jumps from one thing to another. And Erica's scenes were always done first thing in the morning. And I used to leave here about 6 o'clock. I don't drive, and although she does in the series, which was very cleverly staged. I didn't run over anybody. I can steer things quite well.
And someone worked the pedals for you.
It was... I think 8 o'clock.
Yes.
They started my makeup and stuff, and then we went for several hours doing the. Sometimes we'd finish at 11 o'clock, but all my scenes would be done one after the other. I just would dash back into the dressing room to change clothes for the different scenes.
Right.
So it was pretty exhausting, but it's part of the job.
Would have been a lot of fun, though.
It was tremendous fun. We all got on very well. We had a terrific crew, And although you didn't have much social life outside the studio, we had a lot of fun inside because you didn't have time. You were learning your scripts in the weekend.
Gee, it was non. You were there for about 4 or 5 years, weren't you? I think of 4 years, and then you came back and did bits and pieces.
4.5 years
yes,
altogether.
that's right. Yeah.
Yes, I'd been Reg Watson, who actually wrote the series to start with, and had the first 5 scripts. I had done things for Grundy's before, and one of the ones was an episode in Chopper Squad, which was sent to the Cannes Festival. So they were aware of my work. And when Reg was chatting to me about the character in this new series they were thinking of, during the conversation he said, "How tall are you?" Well, I didn't know whether he wanted a tall Erica Davidson or a short one, so I said, "How tall do you want me to be?" And so they had heels on my shoes.
I bet. Yeah.
And a pompadour hairdo. And all the rest of the cast, of course, were in flat shoes.
Yes, and you wore the stilettos and up you went.
And towered above them all behind the desk.
Yeah, that's how you did it. Well, as well as that, Crawford Stables was there too. Homicide, Division 4, The Sullivans.
Yes, and I think there was another one, Matlock.
Matlock Police, yes.
Yes. I was just trying to think. There was one script I got from one of the directors, Noddy, he was called at the time, and it was, I'd always wanted to play a bad character.
Right.
I usually got goodies, and the baddies are much better fun. And this one, when I was reading through it, it had to smoke a cigarette, which of course I don't smoke and never have. And I also thought it would be a good one to wear a wig in this, so I look very different. And when I rang Noddy back, he said, "Oh, don't you want to do it?" I said, "Yes, but I don't smoke." He said, "Oh, we'll get round that." And during the actual filming of it, I broke the cigarette trying to light it. So they had to sort of fill me with the cigarette, and then later, having had it lit, I didn't actually smoke it.
Look, I had a story similar to that. I was doing some ads up in Newcastle, where I worked on radio back in the 1960s, and we had to do a couple of ads, and it required me to smoke and hold a cigarette. I don't smoke either, and I felt so unnatural. I didn't know what to do, so I said to the director, I said, "I'm prepared to hold it beside me, but I'm not prepared to put it in my mouth." So somehow we did it.
You didn't set anybody on fire.
No, well, I had to wash my trousers.
Oh, I'm glad I wasn't working with you at that time.
Adventure Island. You would have worked with John Michael, wouldn't you, on Adventure Island? Did you work Adventure Island with John Michael? Adventure Island?
Yes, I did. I was Miss Gracious Behaviour.
Oh.
And she apparently turned out to be a kleptomaniac.
Oh, did she?
Things kept disappearing on the set. But of course she was very proper.
That certainly wasn't you.
That was great fun. We had Brian Crosley, who was...
Oh, yes, of course.
What's it called?
Yeah.
So she had a flower pot hat. There were some wonderful characters in it, including Michael.
Yes.
John Michael, of course, who wrote the scripts and quite always didn't remember his own lines.
That'd be right, wouldn't it? Yeah. I hope you're listening in, John. We're talking about you. He does listen in occasionally, which is nice. And play school. We can't forget play school because the kids grew up with you.
That actually originated in Melbourne, although Sydney never ever acknowledges that. And I was the first compere of play school.
Yeah.
That was for 12 months. It was really great fun, and the teddy bear, as most children when they're small have a teddy bear. And my teddy bear eventually had to go away because it had lost an ear and a leg and didn't have much hair on it.
He was in a bad way by the sounds.
He used to get all my stories in his ear. That's probably why it wore out.
Patsy, if I gave you 3 wishes, what would they be for? If I gave you 3 wishes, what would they be for?
Oh, that's hard. Good health.
Yep.
Good friends, which I do have. And a little bit more peace in the world.
Yes, I'd agree with you. Yes, most certainly. You don't know where the world's going to at the moment.
It's not really safe to go away for holidays anymore. You never know what's going to happen.
I've got a holiday to America coming up middle of the year, so I'm like you. I'm thinking, should I go or shouldn't I go? But that's what they want us to think, isn't it? So we're going.
I'll keep my fingers crossed for you.
Oh, will you do that?
Yes.
Well, okay. In that case, I'll go. Patsy, it's been a delight to talk to you. You're a lovely, lovely lady, known by so many of our listeners. And I just thank you for your time today.
Oh, thank you. And it was great catching up with you the other night.
Patsy, thanks very much. Talk soon.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye to you.
Bye-bye.
Patsy King.